Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Dan, happy Brazil Day to you. Can't even say it. I can't even get it out of my throat. Happy Brazil Day.
Thank you.
Happy Samba Day.
Samba Day, as it's referred to on the radio.
And then I would nearly call it Salsa Day, which is different again.
Right, yeah.
So happy...
What's a rumba? It's some sort of Latin dance.
Yeah, it's some sort of Latin dance.
Is that Brazilian? Probably not.
I
The
don't know.
samba obviously is.
And then they played the lambada, which
Right.
I only remember from when Lombardo was playing for Crystal Palace, and on Fantasy Football they used to play that song.
The bald eagle.
That's him. Yeah, you don't get many, like, you get footballers with no hair. I mean, I suppose it's true of all society, isn't it? If you go in bold, you cut it all off.
We've discussed this at length on the podcast before.
Have we? Yeah.
About this, yeah.
Obviously, the Charlton had long gone by the time of Lombardo, the comb over.
Yeah, I think the comb over was kind of like, right, we've got to draw a line here, so you just have to go leave it. And then, yeah, interesting. A former housemate of mine, female housemate, was sort of all in favour of blokes not shaving the back and sides when the top's gone. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean
it'll come round again at some point.
That's the thing I was wondering, will it? Because it's such a no-no in today's society, and it's just you never see it.
No.
And if you do see it, it's sort of like on the sort of the person, this person's just given up, you know?
On life.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it come back.
Okay. Well, if you're considering, listener, letting your sides and back grow out and you've not got much on top, let us know.
Please email in.
Love to hear from you. With all that in mind, I had a rubbish time at the football on Saturday. I was honestly, for the last... I don't know when it started, but my entire impression of the match was,
Well, you know, there's a lot going on there. I think it's one part football.
Yeah.
It's one part SAD.
Yes.
You know, it's the first week of January. No one's particularly, you know, enthused about much, are they? You know?
No.
And
But
I
you
think
know,
it's compounded by Saturday, the result, the weather. The atmosphere at St James's Park was flat. Would you describe it as flat?
Yeah. Let's unpack it then. Okay, so if you don't know, City lost 2-1 to Bolton, and the first half was rubbish. So it was Brazil Day. Thing number one, it was Brazil Day, by which there was some artificially... I was late, so I missed it, but I saw the samba drummers walking out. There was some artificial atmosphere created, which, as we've always said, whether it's the Pirates of the Caribbean theme tune, whether it's...
Fireworks in a box,
whether it's Street Heat playing their big bongos...
not in fact Street Heat.
Wasn't it Street Heat?
No, they were called something else.
Okay.
But that kind of thing. The thing you would normally see on a Saturday afternoon outside John Lewis.
Yeah.
And I guess some offence to these people, but all I ever think is...
Do take some offence at
who wants to hear this?
Some people like it.
Do they?
Some people must.
What, people get home and they think, I'm going to put some music on. Pick something out of the old rack, running their fingers across the spines, and they land on something. I know it. Just drums, nothing else.
100% samba.
Just banging drums.
They've also got a Christmas samba CD, Samba Christmas.
I'm sure they have.
Samba Claus. And anyway, so that happened.
Regardless of Brazil Day,
let's just underline this. That's not a thing. Brazil Day.
It's not a thing. No, it was just pallid as well, wasn't it? You know, it was.
I missed it all. I missed everything except for the announcements in Portuguese.
The players have got these kind of like cheap-looking sweatshop manufactured Brazil T-shirts on while they're doing their warm-ups.
Right.
And then there's just this big crowd of middle-aged white people banging drums at the side of the pitch. And that's supposed to be, is that supposed to invoke some sort of excitement in the stadium? I don't know. It was, I mean, kids will go along with whatever. You could tell them it's Black Peter Day, do you mean? And we're all celebrating that possessed goat from the film The Witch, you know, like, and or you could tell them it's, I don't know.
When is Black Peter Day?
No, you could tell them it's anything. You could tell they don't know what it means. You could just say, "Hey kids, today is Earthquake Day."
Yeah,
you know, we're thinking about earthquakes.
Yeah,
and we're gonna kind of like, I don't know, get those drummers back. That sounded like an earthquake, but whatever. They would go with along with anything. So you can't point at a kid and go like, "Well, he enjoyed it." They don't know anything. The whole thing was just like.
Anyway, whenever you do music before the game, I think it automatically affects the atmosphere. Thing number one. Thing number two, you're right. Terrible weather, horrible day, and then very poor first half of football. Very poor. I don't just mean like the tactics, which are poor, make no mistake, but there were mistakes everywhere.
Oh yeah,
from everyone,
from both teams,
and that may have been to do with the weather. Fine, it was horrible, but
looked
it
like
was
we both
turgid.
trying to sort of play the same insipid kind of brand of football, really, didn't it? And it was just kind of like, all right, this is what we've paid to entertain us, is it?
Yep.
This crap.
So that happened, and the first half, I mean, honestly, it passed basically without incident, didn't it?
Pretty much.
There
was that one-on-one, wasn't there, with that Whitworth saved.
Yeah, and they did put the ball in the net, but it was offside. Bolton, that is. Also, we have to watch them in green, which sickens my very soul.
Yeah.
And then, so that's the first half. And then the second half, they've obviously woken up. They're in 7th or 8th in the league, aren't they, at this point? No, they're not. No, I'm lying. But, you know, they got something about them. They've picked up, haven't they? They've got some form.
Well, I was wondering, they must have picked up a bit because the manager's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, second half, they come out attacking a bit. And then Whitworth, this is on the hour, just punts it up the field, bounces over McGuinness.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it may be kind of like, well, I don't know if I can keep giving it short to Kramer and Fitzwater because they seem a bit off it today.
They did look dodgy, by the way, as did Francis on the ball. I think part of that was the pitch, part of that was the weather, part of that was, actually, we saw that from Kramer last week. So
just a little bit of loss of confidence, perhaps, in those, just a touch, you know?
Yep. Anyway, Whitworth kicks it out, bounces on about the halfway line, goes over McGuinness's head. Dimitri Mitchell, who last week we said looked back to form and this week looked lively at certain points, has the foresight to run onto it, meets it, 5 yards outside the box. Their keeper's in absolute no man's land, and Mitchell just gets enough on it that it goes past him and makes it over the line.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What a jackpot of a bonus, because we haven't looked like scoring.
No. Well, at this point as well, I found it quite strange how he approached afterwards. And Caldwell, in his post-match interview, seemed to say, well, it's weird because the players sort of stopped attacking after that, or words to that effect kind of thing. But which I did find odd because we could have taken the game to them at 1-0. They were there for the taking.
Yep.
I think there was so much... There was space in behind them, clearly, and they aren't able to deal with it, because that's exactly what happened with the goal.
Yeah.
We weren't looking, and this is true in the first half as well, we weren't looking to break the lines, despite the fact that on occasion, some of our attackers were actually making runs.
Yeah, and
Watts was making runs it's a strange one for Ed Francis, because obviously he's playing out of position, and I think on the whole he's done a decent job of what he's been asked to do. I like him a lot as a player. I think he's got quite a lot to offer. But for some reason, he just wasn't looking for those. And I think he's good at those passes. Didn't seem to be looking for them. It looked like there was space for Harper to run into. There was runs by Watts and McGuinness that not just him, but the people could have attempted.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Except Whitworth on that one, which resulted in a goal.
Did, but that's just kind of, he just hoofed it, didn't he?
Well, yeah.
Again,
but it showed the chance of success.
I just think they were there. It wasn't like Bolton were... We could have had some success, but it seemed an obvious avenue to explore, given that they just cocked that one up so badly for the goal, and we just seemed unwilling to do it.
Now, Coldwell's got this. By the way, I thought he was suspended, but there he was.
Well, ex-Web tells me that it's slightly different with managers, and that maybe doesn't come into play straight away.
Right, okay.
Straight away, something like that. I don't know if that was correct. Anyway,
Nevertheless, he's still sat up on.
but only for a minute or two. He comes down pretty early.
Yeah. Does he want to get perspective? Can he not see perspective from the pitch? Because I could see it and you could see it.
Well, I always think this because you think, okay, that makes sense. When managers say that, I can see loads more from up here. You can see the pitch better, blah, blah, blah. Pitch side, it's hard to see where everybody is and stuff. I was like, well, okay, well, how come that hasn't become a thing then? You don't see anyone in the Premier League doing it. If it was the most effective thing to do, they would do it. And also, you've already got an analyst up there. Is the analyst not doing the job then? Because surely they're up there so you don't have to be.
Well, I do feel with Gary Coldwell, what he does pitch side and with that kind of thing suggests to me he either doesn't trust the people he's got working for him, players and analysts, or he wants to be all over everything in a way that's not always helpful. So when we see him screaming at the players some of the time when he's there and then being sat up in the stands, he doesn't think like, oh no, it's really important that I'm there telling the players exactly where to go, because now he's got this idea he's going to sit up in the stands. Do you know what I mean? Like, what does he really want here? And I'm just getting worn out by, I don't think like the instances of like short corners for like 10 games in a row, or hold on to the ball at every opportunity for 2 seasons in a row now. Like, sometimes we just got to trust the players. They want to attack. Players, we've all played football. We know what playing football is. We've seen professional football for a really long time. We know that attacking is what people enjoy. There's obviously this block on, no, just go out there and enjoy yourselves, lads.
Absolutely. Which
means that we can't go out there and enjoy ourselves either as supporters.
No. The thing is, philosophically, it's hard to argue with the fact that we're in a better place than we've, as a football club, than we've kind of really ever been. Last time we were up in this division, we didn't last particularly long.
No.
Despite having that high finish and that good season.
Yeah.
It all went wrong after that, as we know. But so on the one hand, you can't argue with that. But then on the other hand, it's absolutely, it's just no fun at all. And that's, so it's kind of like, it's what do you want?
Well,
I'm finding it hard to decide. Do we want this kind of like success? It's almost like it's like, well, you can have this success as in the way we're kind of structured at the minute. This is about as good as we can do, or realistically, budget, money, infrastructure kind of wise.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be any fun.
Yeah.
So I don't.
I just feel like it just feels as if we're where we want to be, position wise, enough points wise, squad wise, cash in the bank wise.
I wouldn't say squad wise, but not far off.
Not far off. And it's never going to be perfect, is it?
No.
And yet the way we're doing that is dull as dishwater.
Well, that's true.
To be polite.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, yeah.
But that doesn't have to be the thing.
Well, I don't know if it... I don't know.
It doesn't have to be the thing. It just doesn't. There are... That Crawley game, for example, we did exactly what we're supposed to do and we lost 4-1. We were 4-1 down at half-time. We're playing that kind of football. Now we were just rubbish.
Well, okay, yeah.
But then we let the handbrake off and we can score 3 goals. So, yeah, okay, fine. Start games defensively or finish games defensively if you're 2-0 up. But are we really putting all our hopes and dreams on sneaking a goal? Because there was no other plan there on Saturday to do anything except sneak that goal.
Yeah.
Certainly not for that first hour.
Well, I don't know if... I doubt that's the kind of like... official party line when they're setting out to do that, but it's the most likely scenario given that the system and who's playing within that system.
These lads have been in this. Some of these players have been here for 4 months, 5. Some of these players have been here as long as the manager. that is more than long enough. This isn't Ruben Amorim. This isn't like Rooney's replacement, 1 game in. That is more than long enough to say, this is what it looks like when we attack. Now we're going to plan B. We've scored a goal. They didn't look like scoring. This is what attacking looks like. And you're there.
Well, I know what you mean, because at that point, why not go for the jugular? Because if you sit back and you're still fairly likely to concede.
Yeah. Because Bolton have got a good squad of players.
Yeah, you just are. And there's, like you can see, we make individual errors that lead to goals, because that's League One football, but happen with both of us, with that weather and whatnot. But so why not just go, after we score, go, right, 10 minutes... Crawley style, second half of Crawley style,
Every ball you get, it goes,
and then you're 2-0 up,
and
then you can kind of try and consolidate a bit. I don't know.
And then, so anyway, we've got to this goal. It's actually he then brings on Niskanen for Mitchell and Aitchison for Jake Richards, right?
Watts has already come off, hasn't he, at this point?
Oh, is it Aitchison for Watts? It's Aitchison for Watts.
Yeah.
Now, Aitchison, in fairness, looks really good.
Yeah, he did actually.
That's the best I've seen him in a while. Turned with the ball, ran at the goal. Niskanen, as we know,
abject, absolutely.
He was bad. He was bad worse than he normally is.
Well, he's always about that bad. Let's be honest.
It just seemed unnecessary. Now, Pat Jones looks like 10 steps above Niskanen. Maybe we're trying to ease him back in, but it didn't have to be that way. It didn't have to be that way.
Well, that's the safe option is Niskanen in that situation, isn't it? Because I mean, I don't know much about Pat Jones, but if he's got as much of a kind of enthusiasm and an engine on him as Niskanen, I'd be surprised. So that's what Colbert was thinking.
Yeah.
The thinking out of that choice is not one of who's more likely to create us a good chance. It's who's more likely to kind of like battle us to keep this 1-0 lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So which goal is first? Oh, I know which one it is.
Well, let's talk about the other thing first. So then we have a massive pause, don't we, in the game? Well,
no, but does that happen? Doesn't that happen after 1-1?
No.
Okay.
That's about 75, 80 minutes.
Okay.
Big pause. I thought Colwell was getting sent off again or whatever. Turns out, and we only find this out later, McGuinness has been subject to racist abuse from the Bolton fans and has told the referee straight away, which is what their players are supposed to do.
He was getting a lot of stick off the Bolton fans. He used to play for them. He also played for Wigan.
Yeah. I'm
sure most of it was acceptable, but obviously he's heard something that was unacceptable, and then it's led to that. Yeah.
So he's told the ref straight away, which is what they're supposed to do. The ref then tells the captains, tells the managers.
McGuinness is the captain, so.
Oh right, thank you. Tells the Bolton captain. They do the process they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
The game plays out and we concede. So Francis fails to put the ball out or keep it in on about the halfway line.
Yeah.
It then gets looped over the top and lands between, I think, Fitzwater and Whitworth. Is that right?
Yeah. To lay any kind of blame at Ed Francis's door, I think is a bit unfair.
Okay.
Not necessarily. He obviously did make the mistake.
Well, it's not really a mistake, but it kind of bounces over his head, doesn't it?
But it's what happens after that. I think it's within the realms of kind of like, well, it's easy enough to deal with that he shouldn't have to really kind of like, yeah, fair enough. He got us into that position, but
yeah, no, agreed.
At this point, Jack Fitzwater, who's
been really good
since he's come in and like has always looked solid for us basically, but all he's got to do is hoof the ball.
Yeah,
just hoof the ball,
corner, throw in,
just anything, and then Whitworth
dallies.
Yeah. He doesn't come and just go like, I'm coming to claim this, which he could have done. He easily could have made it if he decided to do that.
Yeah.
And Fitzwater decides to kind of like try and nod it back to him, where he could just hoof it. It's not about possession football versus hoofball at this point in time. It's about making the right decision. It doesn't you've got to be able to assess what's the right thing to do now, not What does my system
Yeah.
dictate to me that I have to do here? It isn't about keeping the ball in play and necessarily and making it just like you've got to go safety first in that situation and just hoof it.
Yeah. Not to mention, we're 1-0 up and it's the 88th minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He doesn't do that.
He doesn't do that.
The Bolton player steals in is an easy goal.
Rolls in.
It's about as stupid as the goal we scored.
Yeah, it is. That's right. It's 1-1. Then Bolton sense they got a chance here, put the pressure on, lands to their left winger, who puts just before he puts the cross in.
Isn't it a free kick?
No, it's been a
Okay.
free kick, and then it's in free play. It's not even a free kick. The stadium announcer then, coinciding with telling us the added time, tells us there's been a racist incident, and if it continues in the crowd, and if it continues, the game's in danger of being abandoned.
Yeah.
And also, there's 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
He says all of this while the ball's in midair.
Well, literally, this is like this. The Tannoy, public address system. Tannoy is a brand name. Kicks in like as the ball is leaving this like Bolton player's foot, basically,
Yeah.
and it suddenly jars out. I mean, I'm only saying this as a supporter. It jars because of the way the words he kind of says. Because you're used to hearing certain kind of phrases, but it starts off differently, and suddenly you hear this like word racist, and suddenly you like. My attention to what's happening right in front of my eyes is immediately kind of gone.
Yeah.
And I'm what?
Yeah.
Because you had no idea this is going on basically at the time. Literally just thought Colwell was getting told off.
Yeah,
that's what
right.
I thought what the stoppage was about. You mean?
Yeah.
And then before you know it, the ball's just in the goal,
Yeah.
having bounced sort of in front of Whitworth and over his
There's
head.
like 5 players that don't get anything on it.
And I thought, why on earth has he done that there? Why? What? I mean, I know that it's not. I don't blame the guy because he's probably just doing what he's told.
Yeah.
But
Why is that the system?
if some knuckle dragger has decided to make some racist comment from the stands, then I don't think an announcement over the tannoy to go tell him like, don't do that again or the game will be called off. Is it going to be like, oh, I was about to do another one, but now you've said that, I'll stop and I won't do it again. It's absolutely pointless. But it's sort of like kind of like, no, we have to. It's this kind of like modern idea of that. We must do the right thing and address every issue, like officially. When you get like kind of like people apologising for bad language on telly or something, he's just like, just shut up. No one cares. I mean, they do care about racist abuse. That's not what I mean. Let's deal with that.
Yeah.
Let's deal with that to the
Let's deal with it
fullest
with the chance
extent that we possibly can. Let's
Yeah.
find this person and let's make sure that they are not allowed to come to football matches like that. But do we need to make that announcement at that exact moment? I'd suggest no.
I would agree. Now, I think that's probably in a way absolving the players of terrible football.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
Because that's what happened to me. My
Yeah.
concentration was on they should be focusing on what's happening on the pitch.
But the whole thing was a mess, and the whole thing felt like a mess. Felt like we'd gone from mess to mess to mess. Our goal was rubbish.
Oh, we could perfectly easy have conceded that goal with no announcement, by the way.
I think we were planning on doing so
based
anyway.
on the players we've got and
Yeah.
the team the way we play.
I just felt like what I felt like ultimately was, and this will sound like what's Wordsworth doing in the stadium. Why must they mess up what is a beautiful sport? By which I mean, we don't need Brazil Day. We don't need really intricate ways of controlling the game. We don't need racist morons. And we certainly don't need like this, what's the word, Groundhog Day of like absolute insanity of a way to play a football match. Like, it's just, Gary, let's play football in a normal way. That's what I felt like.
Yeah.
Really just, I feel like, because football's so weird these days, there's no, like, when
Well,
you...
it's broader point, isn't it? But we're kind of like having to witness it in this kind of weird microcosm.
Yeah, that's right. Because back in the day, or think about another sport, right? Cricket. Cricket, you essentially play cricket for your local team. If you're any good, you get picked for the county. if you're any good for the county, you get picked for the country. You don't generally move around. I know they're messing it up a bit at the moment. You don't generally move around. You just play for your thing. There's no, like, people trying to build their reputation, get better status. There's none of that. There's no one trying to engineer a move. There's just people trying to play a sport to the best of their ability. And it's a team sport, so you try and build a good team, right? What we've got now are a manager who's not from here, who doesn't understand...
Easy. Going to need an announcement on you in a minute.
No. What I'm saying is, this isn't his local club. He just wants to be here so he can get back to a team that he really wants to manage, right? He wants to manage Celtic. Fair play to him. He wants to manage Wigan. That's where he's from, or whatever. And so we have to live in this world where he's got to show that he's not just getting Exeter City to win, but he's capable of doing more than that. Oh, I could just do more than that. And if I can just show them, and honestly, I'm sure this is true, in the back of his mind, and I'm not, by the way, it sounds like I'm really having a go at him. I'm not. It's the system. The whole thing's been set up like this. If I could just get Exeter City into the playoffs, or just outside the playoffs with the budget that we've got, then that'll alert other chairmen from other clubs where I actually want to be that I could do a job at a higher level. And then I'll get the job at Bolton. I'll get the job at Hearts. I'll get whatever. I'll get the job at Newcastle. And so that's his ultimate aim, right? And so there's no like, oh, I just want to do the best for this thing. And the supporters, there's always this inherent like, no, I just got to prove that I can do it. Same for the players, same for everyone. We've just got this weird sport, and that's what we're all living in now. And the same too is true for the marketing team. It's not their fault that most of Exeter supports Manchester United or Paris Saint-Germain or whatever moron club Ronaldo plays for now. So they're always having to work with like, oh, we got to keep people supporting Exeter, so we've got to make it attractive for everyone. Like, what is this mess we're all involved in? Do you know what I mean? That's
Absolutely,
what I felt like.
yeah. And then that's also why you get things like Samba Day.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
even blame them. They're being taught that they have to. That's how it is now. They're thinking, oh, we need to do a kind of theme thing to like get people like interested and get them to the club earlier, so they kind of like, you know, and buy some merch, buy a half and half scarf,
because the whole thing's so expensive,
raise some funds and all this kind of stuff. It's just like, it's just we're kind of getting this kind of microscope of, and for years I kind of like really thought we're a bit immune to the way that football has changed down here in League Two, where we, you know, were for a really long time, and I loved it. You know, I loved that we were kind of nothing to do with any of that crap, and we had this dilapidated old ground, and nothing worked, and we didn't even have a screen. You know, we didn't have anything. You know, we had nothing. It was just, and football was still, and it's quite agricultural.
Well, also
it wasn't managed and tactic to death like the Premier League was, and I still watch Premier League stuff, but you do have this kind of like longing for when things weren't this overblown and stuff. And now we're starting to see, and Caldwell's only a small part of this, and I agree with everything you said about him. We're starting to see it kind of like materialise in front of our eyes as this shit version of it as well. You know, where we can't possibly have the players to even implement this kind of thing. So it's like watching Man City, but with a kind of load of like jobbing journeyman kind of randos who are just kind of playing for a, you know, small budget club in Devon. And it's sort of like, before it was all kind of more like that, you know, like.
Well, I wonder also if we were partly immune to it because so many academy players. So these were lads who just had the chance to play for their local team.
Well, that's the beauty of that, how that worked as well, was that we got to see local players who are from the area who did care about the club in lots of cases, and really were invested, as well as wanting to kind of do well and move on to progress their own careers. It's kind of suited everybody, you know.
Yeah, it just that's what it feels like, I think, and that felt like the kind of moment that really sunk in for me on Saturday. Yeah,
you know how these people feel when they kind of go like, who support these big Premier League clubs, and then they go like, I'm actually just not been going. They've been going to watch like Bury. I know they're out of business, whatever, but you know, like their local non-league
Tiverton
team
Town
instead.
or Exmouth Town or whatever. You know, we when was that? I can't think. One of the days when City was playing a different day, and we drove past Exmouth Town when they were playing, and there's 300 people there, and you thought, oh yeah, fair dues, you know. Anyway, that's what it was. I just felt like that was
And you
what
can
was
have a
going
pint
on.
in the stands.
Hey?
And you can have a pint in the stands.
Yeah. I wonder if, I don't know, you know, Dan Green's back, and we've done really well, haven't we? Like, Tisdale, for all his... Tisdale had very little ambition for anything except the world he'd created there, you know, with Perryman and with the trust and everything. And I know it all ended acrimoniously, but he could have gone elsewhere and he didn't. I know he did in the end, but, you know, we had a really long time of him there. And then Matt Taylor was the obvious replacement because he'd come through and all that. And I wonder if, in a sense, we'll look back on Gary Caldwell as being this strange anomaly where he sold us the dream of like, oh, look, we can have this, we're a professional club, by which I mean we've done brilliantly to make this thing work properly, which I'm not having to go at at all. I think it's great.
No, and we were going in that direction, I suppose, off the pitch too. We were, you know, we're building this. I'm not against progress. You know, I'm not saying that like. I'm really not saying like, oh, I want us to go back in time and like stand still. I'm just saying I preferred it then. I understand. And I like that we've got this progress. I like the new stand. I like that we've got the training pitch. I do, you know, I think it's good.
What would it look like? This is the thing, isn't it? What would Exeter City look like if we, I know we'll never do this, but if there was a kind of self-imposed rule, there's always 50% academy players in the team. Like that's what we always aim for, which always just kind of happened organically in the past, didn't it? And yeah, sometimes we'll be in League One, and yeah, sometimes we'll struggle. But that's our purpose here, to be a community club. And I don't just mean like it's nice. I mean like,
if anything, let's make it less nice on that level.
Yeah, but it's a club for the city, made up of people from the city. You know, like I just sum it in, because that we've got this unique thing,
yeah,
and it feels like we're trying to compete with things that aren't unique with some of our unique stuff. So we're never going to compete money wise, but we're trying to kind of play that game. I just don't know if we know what we want to be, and that's what Saturday felt like.
Well, I feel like it's kind of like we can't be that anyway.
Can't be that anyway.
We haven't got.
Well, it's a small city in a underpopulated county.
Yeah,
a long way from the major population centres.
Like realistically, we're just not far off our ceiling anyway, are we? So
no,
like,
that's right. And I think that's what I mean always. I think that's what we all mean. Isn't it better to have a go and lose than to not have a go and lose anyway?
Yeah.
And that could be with who makes up the squad. That could be with how we play the football. That could be with everything. We still have a nice stand. We can still not be run into the ground by idiots. But maybe actually the heart and soul of the club's more important than keeping hold of the ball.
Oh, yeah.
There we are.
We've gone very existential here.
We have. I just felt like that. It really pushed me. Also, I got an absolute soaking on the way home on my bike. So I think that was the final straw.
Is that what you were thinking about all the way home?
It was, yeah. I got hail in the face all the way down, you know. Potholes on 4th Street. That's a different matter. That's a different podcast.
It is.
Podcast. That's also a different podcast.
The podcast.
The podcast.
Yeah, don't go searching for that 12-year-old.
No, please don't. All right, well, we'll be back in a minute to talk about what's coming next. Welcome back to Big Bang Theory podcast. Remember, you can email us about your haircuts, photos and all that, be fine. bigbangpod@gmail.com. Maybe you've gone full...
Whatever haircut you've got, email us in a photo of it.
Please. Title it Haircuts.
Yeah.
We've had some correspondence, mainly around Adams Home Hardware.
Oh, yeah?
Which is still operational in Crediton.
Brilliant.
So
great to hear.
If you need all manner of hardware for the home, get yourself out to Crudtown.
From what I remember of the one in Exeter, it was sort of just into a random assortment of home and kind of electrical and DIY kind of items.
Yeah. There was almost anything there that you needed.
They're all, yeah, pretty much.
Not necessarily findable without the help.
Very difficult to find. And, yeah... Lots of junk, basically, but useful
junk.
Yeah, absolutely stacked.
Yeah, nowhere like that anymore. Oh, there is, actually. You go down Baker's Yard in Alphington.
Yeah, great place.
Okay, so, yeah, you can email us if you want to tell us anything about your hair. Or beard.
Just send us a photo of your hair.
Thank you very much. So we're in the FA Cup still, somehow.
We are.
Third round on Saturday. Low-level billing, because we've got Oxford United at home.
Yes.
Oxford, who we've played a gazillion times in the last 20 years. Currently in the Championship, struggling a bit.
Went up last season, didn't they? They have just gotten rid of whoever the manager was before.
Yeah.
And they've now got Gary Rowett.
Yep. He'd been at Stoke, he'd been at Birmingham. Where did he make his name? Burton?
Yeah, I don't know. He was a player, wasn't he? I can't remember him as a player, really. But yeah, he's managed a few teams.
And they're kind of Argyle relegation.
I feel like he was kind of like, people thought, oh, this guy's Gary Rowett.
Yeah.
Because he went from Burton to Birmingham, and then it was kind of like, oh, and then...
Birmingham in the Championship, wasn't it? And then didn't really work.
Kind of dropped off a bit. Anyway, he's there now.
Well, he's at Oxford in the Championship, who have pulled away from relegation a bit with a couple of wins, haven't they?
I think they have, yeah. Since he's come in, they've got the old new manager bounce.
They're never going to be top half Championship team, are they? But
well, not as it stands, no.
Anyway, so, I mean, in a way, we've got a chance to get into the fourth round. But I'd imagine...
There's always a chance, you know? There's always a chance. Yeah, the odds are obviously against us, but...
not terribly against us.
No, and you never know what's going to happen. I'm hoping for John Leofeco to come back in.
Yeah.
And for him to act as the catalyst, much like... Can't remember who it was last season. Woods coming in or someone coming up. The kind of like...
And Cheick coming back, wasn't it?
Yeah, Cheick, and that was it. And Cheick coming back in, or something like that. I'm just hoping for a little spark to kind of like... One, I think we could do with him back, regardless. And two, kind of like, you know... I'm looking for turning points, basically.
You know what I was saying before the break? Like, what's indicative of that is Cheick... Ed Francis is having to play left centre-back, while Cheick's on loan at Bradford.
Not getting a game.
Not getting a game.
He might come.
And we sold Hartrees. Now, I know they're different kinds of centre-backs. Anyway, we don't have to go over old ground, but that's just kind of indicative of it all, isn't it?
Mm.
So as Oxford... Well, obviously, we'd love to be in the bowl for the fourth round.
Yeah, we would.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to get one of those big clubs. Got to get past...
this could be the... And this... I mean, if this could be the bright light in this kind of dreary season so far, couldn't it? You know, if we can get this result, because it's a big occasion, anything can happen in the cup.
Yeah,
that's the magic of it.
Yeah,
Paul Daniels,
David Copperfield. Is he cancelled?
Siegfried and Roy,
Dynamo.
Yeah, modern.
Thank you.
I don't know who more modern magician than that is. Magic's not as popular as it used to be. David Blaine, actually not. Well, yeah.
Is magic not as popular as it used to be? I think magicians aren't as popular as they used to be.
Well, where can you see magic now?
Well, in our hearts and minds.
Okay, fine, but it's not on the telly, is it?
It's not on the telly, no.
What I'm saying is, over the last probably 100 years, there's always kind of been some kind of like magic was one of the kind of popular television or media kind of genres.
Yeah.
There was always some kind of magic knocking about, whether it be Paul Daniels or Blaine, or even that one, The Masked Magician, whatever it was, where he'd tell you all the secrets.
Oh yeah, wasn't that just David Copperfield?
Maybe, I don't know who it was. But nowadays, I'm not seeing any magic on the telly.
No, indeed. Oh well, you might see some if you tune in 3 p.m. Saturday.
How many kids in 2024 were getting a magic set for Christmas?
Yeah.
Versus how many got one in 1993.
Yeah, I'd imagine there's a big drop-off.
Yeah.
Sad. It's gone the same way as...
Load of cheap crap, really, but everyone had one.
Yeah.
The Paul Daniels one.
Will make your mum and dad watch you. Okay.
Well, it doesn't help that most magicians are deeply weird, does it, I suppose? But I suppose you have to be.
Well, it's quite a commitment thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose you have to be weird.
All right, well, we'll see how that goes. Now, Coldwell has got a much better record in the Cup than almost anyone else has ever managed us. Our Cup, if you recall, there was that statistic from one of the listeners back along that we had almost the worst record in the first round of the FA Cup of anyone.
Yeah.
But that's not true with Coldwell. Actually, he's got us further than anyone else, like regularly.
Yeah.
So, Gary, let this be your...
It's the battle of the Garys.
Let this be your crowning glory.
Yeah.
Take us on. Okay. And then we've got Tuesday night.
There's also a Tuesday night, Mansfield Town.
That's next week after the cup game. Mansfield Town. High flying, kind of.
Nigel Clough.
In form, I think we'd say, wouldn't we?
I mean, if anything's going to kind of make us hark back to the good old days, it'll be seeing the likes of Christy Pym.
Yep.
Hiram Boateng.
Yep.
Tom Nichols.
Yep.
All turning up on our doorstep.
Yeah, to paste us.
Yeah. They're doing quite well. 4 wins in the last 5.
Mm.
They're 9th. It's going to be a tough one. But if we can get through Saturday, I mean...
What we've got there,
I don't know why
I'd
I'm
imagine.
saying this, because the momentum doesn't seem to make any difference because we're so married to this kind of like boring type of football that it's not like we can really expect, like, you know, the Crawley game had no impact. There was no impact from that galvanising draw against Crawley that carried over into Saturday's game. Nothing. It was as if it hadn't happened, you know, like. So I don't know why I'm expecting that, even if we do manage to get past Oxford in the cup. But
we just want something to look forward to, I think, don't we?
Will take place.
I'm assuming we're safe because we're picking up points and other teams aren't picking up points and we're still sitting...
A lot of shit in this division.
We're absolutely mid-table, aren't we? So the season is well in danger of petering out, which also means that Gary will be here next year.
Yeah.
Because we don't sack anyone... And we're never going to be as bad as we were this time last year. And he didn't get sacked then.
Yeah.
He's only moving on.
He's also not moving on at this rate either.
No, that's what I mean. He's only moving on if he gets us in the top half of the League One. Unless, I suppose, someone's having an absolute nightmare and they're the absolute team he wants to manage. Who that is, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Or someone who really wants to play that style of football.
Well, just needs something solid and is closer to home.
The way football goes historically, we're in the kind of... Isn't it the kind of death rattle for this kind of football anyway?
Well, given that Pep's ballsed it up...
That's what I mean. It feels like to me, like, I could be wrong, it feels like to me like this kind of... That we're kind of like... Football's evolving past this kind of thing anyway. Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I don't know who... If Wigan... they're not going back there, are they?
He ain't going back to Wigan.
If Rotherham sunk a bit more...
Stockport
would have been fine, you see.
They're not going to... Yeah, well, yeah.
Or, you know, or someone in League Two. But he's not going to do that. He knows he's onto a... He's not getting sacked from Exeter City.
No.
So you'd weigh it up, wouldn't you? And you'd be like, well, I could go to... I don't know who's in League Two anymore. I've forgotten. Bradford. It's close to home. Big club. Might pay me okay. But they also might sack you in 3 months.
Yes.
So I really feel like I don't see where the current thing we're in is ending. And that's not normally how I feel at all about Exeter City.
It's more likely that the more likely outcome of anything is that Coldwell starts playing a different type of football. That's the and I don't think that's likely.
Yeah.
I just think that's more likely than either the two scenarios you've just kind of come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also, it's now January.
Yes.
We're a week in.
And not one...
We've not heard... We basically had... There is no transfer news. No one has so much as been sent back from a loan.
No.
You know?
No.
I'd expect Mamani Richards to go back. He hasn't. I'd have expected Cheick Diabate to come back the other way.
Yeah.
He hasn't.
No.
Nothing on, even those fronts. No
rumours of Ali going. No rumours of Cheick Richards. Oh, there's rumours of Cheick Richards.
There's rumours of there's rumours around, vague rumours around those kind of people, but nothing proper and I don't know.
Question.
Yeah.
Whitworth's not been at his best. Harry Lee still exists.
There's
3 years ago we were promised was...
There's no way though, is there?
Doesn't seem to be.
He doesn't even play in those
EFL things.
EFL trophy things.
Yeah, Bristol Street Motors. No,
You'd think if he was kind of on the horizon,
Yeah.
he'd be playing every single one of those games. He never plays them. And also, there's no way Whitworth's going. Whitworth, let's be honest. He's
He's been fine. I know he's been fine.
A couple of absolute howlers
Yeah.
recently, but other than that, he's actually been really good
Yeah.
stats wise.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah, kept us in lots of games. I know.
he's here for the season, and will be. I'm happy about that. I want a striker desperately
Yeah,
because I think Cox isn't trusted, and hasn't maybe taken the opportunities when they've come to him. Don't think we play a style that particularly works with the type of player he is. We talked about this last week. Jay Bird, not ready, not up to it. Take your pick.
yeah.
I'll be generous and say I don't think he's got enough experience at this level, and hopefully he can get more and he can still do something for us. And McGuinness he's not up to the. I mean, whatever. Josh McGuinness will get us a team with Josh McGuinness in it. Will get us to the 15th place finish that we're inevitably going to achieve.
I can't see us bringing anyone in. Honestly, I can't. I think.
But I think we'll sign somebody.
Do
But
you?
I think we'll get someone in on loan or something, and it'll be pretty underwhelming. We've got I don't know. McGuinness is a 5-goal a season guy.
Yeah.
He's always been a 5-goal a season guy. It averaged out. I don't know what his best season for scoring is in his career, but on average, that's about what he's going to get you.
Well, he certainly had chances to get more this
He does.
season,
He
and
does.
you realise he doesn't.
He does a decent job of hold-up play. He looks better than at hold-up play than some of the others when asked to do it. I'd put him on. You'd think maybe he's kind of like on a kind of level with someone like Bowman. I'd say.
Yeah, he's exactly that kind of player. I wouldn't expect Bowman to be any better or worse.
No. But if we're going to have, if we were going to have any ambitions of doing any better, we would need to be stronger.
I mean,
up top, because the chances are so few and far between, and the distance between the kind of attacking players and the striker are vast, and the quality of the delivery quite often is not great.
well,
So it needs to be someone who is going to make things happen. Someone like Sam Nombe used to do. He could create things for himself, kind of out of nothing. I mean, that wasn't in Caldwell's system. I think he struggled a bit in a brief time under Caldwell. But I don't know. Like you said, I don't think we're going to get anyone particularly anyway. But
okay, well, we'll keep you updated if anything changes.
yeah, a bit of a doomer, this one, really, isn't it?
Oh, that's just how I felt.
Considering we've only lost 2-1 to Bolton at home, which...
It was just the manner, wasn't it? Anyway, next week we'll be back and it'll be all sunshine and rainbow.
Yeah, but we couldn't even get up for it with Samba Day.
So what hope is there?
Exactly.
Well, maybe when Rumba Day comes
What's
around,
the
we'll be
next?
all right.
Is there any more days planned? Because I'm kind of...
Valentine's Day?
No, they're not going to do anything for that, are they?
Why not?
What you think they'll do a Valentine's Day special? What would they have
I
then?
think they'll...
String quartet at the side of the pitch when the players come on.
They'll put someone in a nappy with a...
Playing
bow
the
and arrow.
Carpenters as the players come out.
Yeah, lovely.
And they have... Oh, yeah, they could have Grecian the Lion in a...
Cupid's outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No problem.
Oh, also, to compound the miserable experience of Saturday,
Yeah.
they didn't even have the half-time fan race.
Oh, yeah,
the
which is the
only
thing everyone loves.
thing that's good about going to Exeter City at the moment. No, I'm not doing that. Is it because
It was probably too wet.
So?
We're like studs. Would you want to do a running race in front of 5,000 people?
Well, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to fall over.
Yeah.
So what? They know what they're signing up for.
Fair enough.
Do you think it's because we said we liked it? I can't
Oh.
help feeling I'm being spited. Is that a word?
Yeah. Maybe.
Let's just start saying what we do, what we
I'd
we
like
want,
to
what we
see
don't want.
the ball only in our half,
Yeah.
please.
Valentine's Day coming up soon, and then Easter Day.
Yes, that is a day. We won't be playing on it. Good Friday.
Good Friday Day.
Good Friday.
What are the tropes of Good Friday? I don't know. You know, like
Well, hot
we
cross
could
buns.
have hot cross buns available, of course. We could have some crucifixes erected around
Yeah.
round the gaff.
Tasteful, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, a big crucifix in the middle of Red Square.
Yeah, I can't see any problem. They do it on the Cathedral Green, so
Exactly.
what's the difference? Yeah.
It doesn't have to be relevant particularly because, let's be honest, Brazil Day wasn't relevant to anything.
Brazil Day was not relevant to
You
anything.
can pluck arbitrary dates out of anywhere you like.
Yeah, all right.
So we could have, a day to celebrate when they renovated the centre spot. And everyone comes dressed as their favourite bit of the centre spot. I don't know,
Sure.
some come dressed as a beer tap.
Yeah, all right. They've had worse ideas.
They have.
Okay. Thanks for listening, everyone. Tell us your days that you'd like to see celebrated at St James Park.
Yeah, there we go. That's
BigBangPod@gmail.com.
actually better than sending in a photo of your hair, but do both.
Hair Day.
Hair Day.
Yeah. With this stuff, it's easy. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back after next Tuesday's game. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.